Hello, everyone. Welcome back to House of Papillons. Thanks for joining me. So it's August, as we all know. It's the year has flown by like light speed, and we're here to do the August birthstone in the Back to Basics series. Now, with this series, I've been doing a birthstone each month, except June got two because, well, it has two apparently. And I only have, this is June Alexandrite. And I only have one out here, but I usually show all of them. The July birthstone is on its way in the mail to a very kind subscriber. And what happened was in the middle of that video being out there, the Ruby, I passed a milestone in the YouTube land. I received my 1,000th subscriber, and some of that is due to the kindness of some other channels. Amy from Resonating Art with Amy M, Mustard Seed Mixed Media, Laura from Laura's Art Corner, all of them put messages out saying, hey, why aren't you watching? Go subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Well, not blah, 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 but it was very kind of them. It just seemed like that last 15 subscribers took forever. And so in the middle of all that, the 1,000th subscriber was somebody from CL Fantasy Waves Art Studio. And she had commented that that July is her birthstone. It's the best birthstone in her opinion and all the things. So I decided, just impromptu, didn't plan this. I wasn't going to do anything for my 1,000th subscriber, but I decided to gift that to her. So it's on its way to her, and much appreciated. So see, if you like and subscribe and you comment on people's pages, you just never know what they might do. You never know what they might be inspired to do. So we're going to get down to business here, working on our peridot or peridot. I always called it peridot, and then recently I heard it was peridot. So whatever you call it, it's a beautiful stone. It's green, kind of a lime green. It's very green. So what I'm going to do, because this series is to increase your knowledge. So each video, I'm trying to show you something new, sort of in the beginner realm. I mean, in the very beginning, we did basic mixing, basic, everything. But I am still using one-to-one resin. I have not changed my resin. The peridot that I'm going to do a very basic marbling technique. And some peridot that you've seen is faceted, very smooth, very saturated with color, that you see maybe in jewelry. Other peridot that you see is, a mixture of lots of different textures and colors of green, and it's all in that same family. So what I'm going to do, I have 7 cups because I have almost every green that I have. In order to do a really effective marbling, it's best to use some kind of ink, a transparent of some sort, a pigment paste, and mica powders. It's best to use those. Like if you try to marble alcohol ink and alcohol ink, it's not going to turn out the same way. You may get it to marble, but it's not going to necessarily be what it is that you're looking to do. So I've got one of everything out here. Then I'm going to put a tiny bit of alcohol in each of these cups and see what they look like. Because, for instance, this forest green doesn't really look forest green to me, but it may be forest green after it's mixed up. So I don't want to make that mistake and mix it into resin and then, have nothing. have nothing to show for it. Let's start out with our micas. This is by Marblers. It's a green. It's called Jade Green. And don't always go by what the color says on the label. You know, everybody's interpretation of a color is different. Oh, haven't used this one before. So, you know, and sometimes depending on where they are made and what language you speak in your country, you know, it could be a difference in language. So don't always go by the name of it. I can't tell you how many turquoises I've gone to use that are that are not turquoise. Come on, lid. This is just a little sampler set that I have from Marblers because I wanted to try out. Oh, for Pete's sake. I'm sloshing alcohol everywhere. Now, this is a very, very, very little bit of the mica compared to the alcohol. I'm just looking to see the color value. And even though that's jade, that's kind of, it's very, you know, in the lime green family. And forest green, teeny tiny little bit. You know, I am not an advocate of mixing your mica powder into alcohol in order to break up the mica. I think people say that they're dissolving it. It's not a thing. Now, see, that has a little bit of gold running through it. I have a feeling that that's going to be darker than we want. This is avocado green. Now, I know what this looks like because I used this in my snail video. And I think this is the color of green that we want. Now, I just have to put these elements in. The ink, the mica, and the pigment paste. I can put multiples of those. It doesn't have to just be this many, you know, cups that I'm going to play with. That's the perfect color. So, well, we know we're going with that. Let's go for our inks. Now, I think olive oil, between you and me, because I've used them before, I think olive oil or lime are going to be our winners for Peridot or dot. Peridot or Peridot. See that? It's Peridot or dot. And actually that's going to be, that's a little darker. Yeah, it's a little darker. These are really, really highly pigmented inks. So I'm going to have to put more in there than just a drop to make it that color. And there's more Peridot. I'm going to put these two aside because I could possibly use both. I have Baltic Day. This is emerald green. It's a really bright green. So let's see. I don't think I've ever used it. I haven't. And it's a pigment paste. And it's just about the sort of brightest green that I have. So I'm just going to stir it up a little bit. Okay, I think, yeah, that'll be in the same, you know, family. Okay, I mixed 8 ounces just because I think, you know, I'll mix a little bit more of each to, you know, make sure that I've got the right ingredients there when I want them. And I'm just going to divide, like, really, I'm just going to divide this up. And actually, I need to leave some clear. One thing I neglected to tell you is that I will want to have some clear as well. It's good to drizzle some clear into your marbling. Such a mess. Okay, now, all right, let's start mixing. I think it was this time last year that I did that snail. Maybe I'm meant to revisit these same colors every year. Maybe it's a yearly thing. And this is probably 1.5 ounces of resin-ish. Oh, look how nice and opaque that is. That's what we want. I already mixed this up, so I can just, and I know you usually don't need a lot of pigment paste. Pigment paste is the most densely pigmented form of pigment that you can use. So starting out with a very, very little bit. Most people, when you saw me, I usually stick my stick in there and then wipe it off. Now this is very transparent, it seems to me. All right, here's olive oil, which, like I said, in my estimation, this is very much what Peridot be. Now, I'm just going to start with 2 drops because this is octopus fluids, and octopus fluids is really, really pigmented, very highly reputable company for artists. And so I know that I don't want to go in heavy-handed right off the bat. Because, like I said, this is going to be what I'm going to hold the rest of these to. So I'm just wondering if I want, well, let's mix lime first, and then I may add more clear to this to make more of this color. And that's gorgeous. I might do one more. And also with these, you have to, do a little more mixing. If you don't mix alcohol inks or resin inks enough, you're not necessarily getting it down in the bottom. These are so dense that, mix it more than you think you have to, because like I said, they're dense. And if you don't, you're gonna get streaks. Let's see, this is lime. The olive oil there was a resin ink. The lime is an alcohol ink, and it's an octopus fluids, but it's an alcohol ink. Oh, by the way, I get these alcohol inks at Laura's Art Corner. I have a discount code for you if you're interested in the octopus line, and or literally anything that she has in her shop. She has the most amazing glitters and pigments and mica powders, and it's so I encourage you, go for a little look-see, see what kind of trouble you can get your bank account in. And yeah, have a good time. I'm pretty sure that the majority of these are going to be done in these 2. The majority of the pours. These are kind of going to be drizzled in here and there. But these 2 are what I want to try to concentrate and make sure that I'm getting enough in there. Also, another step in this, I'm going to let all of this resin heat up to about over 110 maybe degrees. And so however long it just took me to mix it, it's at 20. Well, okay, wait, that's Celsius. Hold on. It's at 77 right now Fahrenheit, and I'm gonna let it get to like 100, 110. When resin heats, it's starting to cure as it heats, and it heats and heats and heats and heats, and it's curing. If we make this cure a little bit up to 110 degrees, it's still going to be pourable, but it's not going to mix together as well. These colors, they're going to blend a little bit, but not as much as they would if I poured them right out of these cups right now. Okay, This one here, which is deeper, is at 108, and this is 103. I think I'm going to go ahead and start my marble. So what you do, this is the olive oil that we think is the, well, I think is the correct color. And what I'm going to do is just kind of randomly drizzle this in here. Now, you don't want a big pour of it, because what's going to happen is it's going to go down the middle and then fill up that bottom, because it's all going to even out, right? So you just want to drizzle, so that not a thin drizzle, but a drizzle nonetheless, so that it, if it's drizzling down there, it's not going to drizzle in the same spot. Hopefully it's going to separate and then find its own, its own area to stay in. This is the pigment paste right here. And this is my clear. And then we start over. This is the olive oil, which we think is I think, I keep saying that, I think is the closest to a cut peridot. And so I'm hoping with all of these different shades and also elements, because we have micas, pigment pastes, alcohol inks, and resin inks, I'm hoping that it gives sort of a, variation of what an uncut peridot, or even, there are, let's try to find photos of, like, there are some peridot stones that are sort of two-toned in the greens. They're different colors of green. I love doing this. Love doing this. Now in that layer, I poured a little bit more than I did in the last ones, because that is our, like I said, that's the okay. Now I am going to dome this, but I have to move it to a different table to do that, where it's going to cure. And I don't want to sit, now I see what could be bubbles, may not be bubbles, don't know. But I don't want to stick anything down there to try and dislodge if they are bubbles, because that's going to mix things together, right? If I'm trying to keep things together but separate, if I go down in there tinkering around, it could mix up the colors, and then that was all for nothing. So I'm going to take this over to my curing area, dome it, which takes like the tiniest bit, and then I'll see you back here after it cures. This is exciting. This is fun. See you back. And it's time to reveal the mystery. A piece of glitter on my glove. I'm sorry. Par for the course for this room. Just trying to get a grip here on the edge. There we go. Every time I go to demold this, I'm like, okay, this is now time number 9, isn't it? Yeah, because we had 2 in June. So, come on. You'd think I could do this really well by now. With this mold. Oh, wait a minute, let me fix it. You know, what's the first rule? You gotta fix your mold. All right, we did it. Look how pretty. I don't see any bubbles, but I do see this depth. And just like the real actual Peridot, you know, it has these other textures, I guess. I don't know what you would call it, but there are, you know, there are textures of sort of, it goes brighter, it goes darker. This is good. This is really, really good. So that's how you do this. And technically it's a marble. So that is how you do this. So please let me know what you think. I'm dying to know. Are you a Peridot baby? And also I want to show you something. So with the leftover resin, I didn't have my camera running when I did this, but I poured the little candle cup. And what I tried to do, well, what I did was I wanted this to make actual stripes like it would have done had we done just row after row after row. This would have been olive oil right here. That's the mica. This next layer was the pigment paste, and then this final layer was lime. So I did, you know, I wanted you to see an actual, and that's really cool on the sides. That would be a cool thing to do just in general. But I wanted you to see, and then I just put a ton of glitter on the bottom because I could. I don't know. I thought it was gonna somehow. I thought that maybe it would make it sort of radiate up through there. Actually, I couldn't get my hands on the medium-sized candle cup, which is the one that I really like with all of these. But that's really cool looking too. If you've been here the whole time, I really, really appreciate it. Please think about liking and subscribing. This Back to Basics series has been so much fun, and you know, I've had actually, sometimes it's been a challenge, but sometimes not, to come up with different techniques to show you that beginners can do. You can do all of this. You saw I didn't even use a bubble remover for this one. There are others that I didn't use a bubble remover either, but you know, this is giving you examples of the extent of your skills that you can do with some very, very basic materials. So, the mold is also available on Laura's Art Corner, just so you know. And please like and subscribe if you haven't. And I thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.